everyone, the next card I'm going to make in our Christmas card series is a sort of a smaller one. So I've started by preparing a few things because I don't emboss on camera. I've just stamped a Merry Christmas greeting, and I've done that in Versacolor white ink, and then I've embossed it with some superfine detail white embossing powder from Ranger. So that's that one ready to go. What I've also done is cut this piece of the brown sugar cardstock from Kazaz to fit the card base, which is white. So we've got our white card base there, and then I've used the corner rounder to round the edges of just the bottom part of the card. So I'm going to move that stamp to the side now, and we're going to work on the other stamp that I've pulled in. So these stamps have come from sets that actually I'll show you the set. So this is a set that I got in a magazine. Yeah, so one of those ones where you buy a magazine and you get a free stamp set. So I couldn't tell you, I don't have the packaging anymore, I couldn't tell you who made the stamps or who designed them, but they did come with a magazine. So what I'm going to do is I actually want to place these across the top of the card. So I'm just going to take some Memento black ink, and I'm just going to ink up that stamp. And it won't quite fit all, I can get the bottom star there, it won't quite fit all the way across. So I might actually bring in paper on the background because I'm going to have to stamp it twice and off the page. So I'll take this corner to the top corner there, and we'll just need to add a little bit more for the other edge. There we go. So we'll just stamp up this side and just trying to figure where I can join it so it looks like it's all one. There we go. How'd that go? Not too bad. Trying to line up the bunting as well. Okay, so we've got ourselves an image there. And what I wanted to do, rather than leaving it plain, is just to add a little bit of colour. So I'm going to start with some colour to the bunting, and I'm just using an alcohol ink marker. This one's a Kazaz one, and the colour is called Moss. And I'm just going to go in and just do the inside part of that banner. Now it's actually quite a strong colour, and I don't have anything sort of lighter, so I'm actually going to go back in afterwards and just blend that out using the blending tool. But I just thought, rather than just having that plain kind of background with just the brown sugar colour in the background, I just wanted to add a little bit of colour to it. So just going along and colouring those in. And we'll have the brown sugar border on the bunting because I'm not colouring all the way to the edge. It's got like a stitched pattern, I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm just going to the stitching at this stage. So then I've got my clear blender, and I can go over that and just lighten up that colour a bit. So it looks darker when you first go over it, but you'll see it does lighten up the colour as you go along. It takes a little while to work its magic, but yeah, it just takes that harshness out of it a little bit. There we go. Alright, and it doesn't matter if it's uneven, that sort of gives it a bit more of a realistic shadowy look. And I think I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to add too much colour to the bottom here because this is more just for the background. So what I'm going to do now is I've already put some double-sided tape on the back, so I'm going to peel that off and stick that down to our card base. There we go. And then I'm going to get our white gel pen, and I'm going to add some faux stitching all the way around the card. So I'm using a, trying to think of the name of this one. So it's a Signo white gel pen, and I just find this has got really good coverage. The trick to this is if you're doing stitching, is to kind of go it backwards and forwards a few times just to make sure that the ink is flowing. But if you're writing with it, to write slowly helps the ink come out of the gel pen. If you try and write too fast with this, I find that it does sort of have those faded bits all the way through it. Now I'm not going to go all the way around the edge, I'm just going to go to where the stamp at the top meets the edge of the card. So here I started at that star. Sometimes you've just got to go back over a little bit, and on the other side I'm going to stop at the bauble on the other side. Now you could have done this in a green gel pen if you wanted to, or a red one, because I'm going to add some red to the card shortly, but I quite like that clean look of the white. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add this tag to the top, but I want to make it look a little bit more special. So I punched a hole in the top using my crocodile, and now I'm going to add an eyelet to that. So one that sort of coordinates with the cardstock. And then squeeze it into place, like so. And then what I'm going to do is just going to, and that'll cover up that join really well as well. I might do, thinking about whether I add this around the bottom or whether I actually add a little bit to the top, and I think I'm just going to add a little bit to the top. So I'll trim this up to the size we want it, put that one to the side, and then we're going to send through the back and put those bits at the front through like so. Okay, so that's going to be our tag. I'm not sure, do I want it that way? I think I want it that way. And then I'm going to mount this onto the card. So I'm going to have some foam squares. Now these are the ones without too much dimension, so just to boost it off the page a little bit, but we don't want it to have too much dimension because I haven't put chipboard on the back of this like I did in the previous video, which means that it is going to be a little bit flimsy. So the other trick is to put a fair few foam squares on the back just so that it gives it some extra stability. So normally I wouldn't put this many. If it was chipboard I'd just put maybe 5, but I've added a few extra in the middle there, so just so that it holds it up really well. I'm going to place that on there like so. And then the other thing I'm going to do is that this tree looks a little bit plain and boring to me, so I actually want to make this a little bit of a star, as in the star of the card. And what I've got is a gold gel pen, and I'm not a big fan of the colour, that grey sort of colour, so we're going to make this stand out a little bit, and we're just going to go over that grey with the gold gel pen. So because it's quite similar, you may not see the difference on camera, but it just makes it a little bit more shiny. And the other thing is, because it is similar, you don't have to get the colouring in absolutely perfect. What you're trying to do is really just bring out the sort of, or just highlight the tree. And if you miss a bit, it won't stand out so much. So just colouring that in all the way. And you know, if you go from side to side, it'll kind of take on that shape of the tree anyway. Yeah, so rather than trying to colour up and down, and that'll just give it a bit of extra dimension. Once I've finished, I will pick it up to show you, but just flicking, like a bit of a flicking motion out to the edges of the tree. Make sure you colour as much as you can, and you will need to wait for this to dry for a fair while. So because it's It's a gel pen, and we've got a bit of a glossy kind of finish to this paper. It will take a while to dry. So I'll lift that up now for you to see. I may add a little bit more to that. I'm not sure if you can see, but that really gives it like a little bit of a shimmer, yeah, to that Christmas tree. So very cute card, doesn't take too long, really simple idea, and I've actually made a few cards using that sort of stamp across the top and then just embellishing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.